All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. We're going to start off here in Revelation 13, where we read this warning again of the MOTB. All right, so let me read this first. It says, Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Again, this he is speaking of Esau, Edom, specifically the top banking families, those who control the world, those who control the money. The key to this prophecy coming to pass is this word causeth. And it goes back to the Greek word poieo. And within this word, let me bring this up. All right, here's the word.
Strong's G 4160. Poieo. Poieo.
You're down here in the definition of this word. It says to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. And what we're going to do is go here and ask what this means. And it says the phrase to make ready and so at the same time to institute means that the very act of preparing something is what actually creates, establishes, or sets it into motion. It also goes on to say something very key here. Instead of preparation and execution being two separate consecutive steps, all right, one after the other, it says this phrase describes a scenario where the preparation is the launch. Breakdown of the components says to understand the deeper meaning, it helps to look at the two legal, philosophical, or formal verbs being used. One, to make ready, which means to prepare, equip, or arrange something so it is fit for use. To institute means to officially establish, initiate, or bring something like a rule, ritual, law, or system into existence. And then there's the and so at the same time. It says this acts as a cause and effect bridge. It means that the second action happens automatically as an immediate, inseparable result of the first action. Okay, so keep that in mind while we are speaking about the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast. While we're speaking about that and these gradual steps that the ones that run the world bring in, right? That Esau, Edom brings in. And if you didn't know, again, just to remind you, right? Esau, Edom is the self-called and so-called white man. All right. Esau, Edom is the self-called and so-called white man. Now, if you look so-called white, that doesn't automatically make you an Edomite. But the bulk of the Edomites are in that so-called white race. Okay. Israelites were scattered into all nations, so we can even look white. But the fact still stands that Esau, Edom is in the bulk of that race, and we can tell by prophecy. All right, them being able to make ready, and so at the same time to institute this MOTB points to that fact also. right? The powers that be, the banking families. So let's go back here. Excuse me for a second. All right. Now let's go back to this warning and read this again. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. We just recently went over who Esau Edom is. Even before that, we touched on what this MOTB is. It is the micro C hip. And the two examples that we give on this channel, just examples, right? Uh, uh, because this technology is the micro C hip. It's just the names surrounding these technology or technological examples, all right, they can always change them. Okay, so it's the technology that you want to go look at and filter through these scriptures. But an example for the one in the hand, you can look at Wallet More. It's one word, is WALLETMOR. And then for the one in the head, you can look at Neuralink or Elon Musk's brain technology. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of this gradualism. What is gradualism to start out? We'll go there now. All right. It says gradualism, definition and meaning from the Merriam-Webster. It says the meaning of gradualism is the policy of approaching a desired end by gradual steps. Now, keep that in mind about the definition of poieo. Okay, the introduction is the launch. Okay, the introduction to this technology is the launch. All right, so gradually bringing this thing on to the world stage. So it is already here. All right, going back to what is key about this prophecy coming to fruition is that this technology is already here. Right? People already have this mark of the beast. So why do we, or how can we say that this prophecy hasn't come to pass yet? It's because of that cause it. Okay, the introduction is happening now, but the making mandatory, right? The causing all to receive, the making mandatory of this thing has not been done yet. Right, but it is on its way. Okay, we are so close. All right, they're going to be putting things on the scene or bringing things on the scene like laws, uh, decrees, and righteous decrees at that, to slowly condition and prepare the people for when this thing does get made mandatory. All right, we're going to read a little bit more about that method of gradualism. Again, the meaning of gradualism is the policy of approaching a desired end by gradual steps. All right, keep that in mind too. A desired end. This is again the plan, and the introduction is the launch, meaning that we are going in a place that they have planned us to go in the first place. All right, meaning the world. Okay, they want the world to go in a certain direction. They plan the steps, and then these steps are taken. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about gradualism for a little bit more. All right, it says gradualism is a highly calculated, slow boiling psychological strategy used by the top banking families, right? The elite of Esau, Edom, the he in verse 16 there. It says instead of introducing tyrannical control all at once, which would cause immediate rebellion, they implement it through tiny, seemingly harmless steps over decades. Each step is disguised as a solution to a manufactured crisis, a matter of public safety, or a modern convenience. By the time the masses realize they have been trapped in a total digital prison, okay, called that e-carceration, because although you don't see the bars in front of you, all right, with uh, backbones like these decrees and these gradual steps being set into place, all right, you are actually being put into a cage, all right, a maze, you can say, all right, where there's one way out. All right, we have to keep in mind gradualism. We have to keep in mind to make ready. And so at the same time, the institute, the way out of this is going to be what they present to you. Okay. So by the time the masses realize they've been trapped in this prison, okay, the exit doors are already locked except for one. All right. Again, that one exit is going to be what they want you to do. All right. So let's go ahead and get some scriptures again. All right. Psalm 64:5 says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Now, of course, this is speaking about the ones who make the plan, the one who makes it ready. And so at the same time, the institute, the one who brings this digital maze or digital trap, the one who sets this digital trap where the only way out is going to be this MOTB. He's setting up this micro C-hip, all right, future. Okay. So the banking families, they meet in secret councils like the WEF, which is World Economic Forum. It isn't really a secret. Not so much a secret anymore. All right, what they speak about there. All right, they put these things online. They tell you the same thing about themselves and their plans that we tell you, but for some reason, all right, the world doesn't listen to the prophets. But you let them tell you themselves, and maybe you'll listen, or maybe you'll come up with some excuse like, "No, that's AI or whatever you come up with in your head." All right, but all right, everything that we have told you, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, through our elders and apostles on down. Right, everything that we have told you about their plan, they admit it. If you listen, right, if you keep watch like the Lord commands us to do, you will see that all of this is being set into motion. All right, we are going to come into a time where the MOTB is pushed and made mandatory. We are going to come into a time where if you do not accept this thing, all right, this is where the 17th verse comes in on Revelation 13. Let's get that really quickly here. Revelation 13:17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. If you do not, all right, take this thing, you're going to be stuck in that maze. You're not going to be able to get out to get any food. You're not going to be able to get out to get any clothing. You're not going to be able to get out to get a roof over your head. Okay, because you're not going to be able to buy or sell, which is your way out of being locked down. All right, that mark is going to be your key into getting back into their system or staying in their system. Okay, and being able to buy or sell, have these comforts, or have not even the comforts, having the necessities of life: food, clothing, shelter. Now you're going to have to make a choice, and we are all headed towards this time. The difference is the men of the Lord are the people who actually believe, along with the people who actually believe in this, who are Israelites. All right, see, we have the Lord, we have hope, okay? And the Lord is indeed going to keep his word and protect whom love him, okay? As it says here, and let's get Revelation 3:10 just really quick. All right, this is Revelation 3:10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come. Shall come, all right, will come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, this is a time that is coming. There's no way around it. All right, you can think that you are going to hope and pray that these times don't come, but then you're hoping and praying against what the Lord said is going to come, man. Now, this is what we're telling the world and preparing the world through as the words of the Lord, right? He told us to go out and speak these things that he tells us. I give warning from him, because all these things are going to come to pass without a doubt. So speaking of Psalm 64:5 again, all right, which read, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily or privately. And that snares is traps, all right? It says, they say, who shall see them? All right, even these people don't consider the Lord, all right, that the Lord's words are true. And those who follow them and believe in them, they seem to act the same way, despite what their words may say. All right, they're going to act accordingly to what they truly believe. All right, they're going to follow this man wherever he goes. See, we follow Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, wherever the Spirit takes us. All right, wherever he goes, showing who you have allegiance to. All right, again, so the international banking families, they meet in these councils, all right, and they plot how to do these evil things to the world, to bring this MOTB to the forefront and to spring this trap on people. Okay, and they're doing it in a very secret and gradual way, which is not so secret and not so gradual when you have the Lord with you to show you these things. Okay, but these people are the ones in power, the elite. They believe that because they move slowly, because they try to hide their plans, that people won't notice. And they're correct. When it comes to most of the people of this world, they're not going to notice. They're not going to notice until it's too late, man. Okay. So let me check this time real quick. All right, let's talk about something else. I got a little bit more time. All right, let's talk about one of these traps. All right, one of these snares. We've all heard of digital ID. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. There's something called a digital ID, and there's also something called age verification laws that have been grouped together in this time. All right, digital ID and age verification have been talked about a lot uh, in these past past days, months, maybe even years now, or maybe even since 2020 or 2021 or something like that. All right, and what this is what we are witnessing is a massive global push for, guess what, mandatory digital IDs and strict age verification laws. And this isn't just happening in Babylon the Great. All right, governments all over the place. This is why the scripture told you again, verse 16 in Revelation 13 told you, and he causeth all, right? And it gives both ends of that spectrum, right? Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. And this is speaking about the world, man. Everyone. Okay. So even these gradual steps like digital ID laws or age verification laws are happening worldwide with other governments. Okay, but it's heavily led by this system here in Babylon the Great. This is the capital of Esau, Edom, man. Okay, his dominion, his government, Babylon the Great. There's so many things going on over here. So many philosophies you can take hold on to and think that it's okay. So many liberties you have over here and think that it's okay to do them just because this world tells you to do them. You're confused as an Israelite, man, because they throw so many things at you. Right? That's why it's called Babylon the Great. All right, great confusion. But a lot of us are waking the hell up out of it, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. We're not confused anymore. All right, we know that there's a certain path that the Lord is putting us on, right, that leads to life. Okay, but since most of us, most Israelites in this place, okay, 2/3, 2 out of every 3 Israelites in this place hold to this man and his ways and have been caught up in this system over here of liberty, of and I'm saying perceived liberty because they say you have liberty, they say you have freedom, but do you? All right, but since you caught up in that system, since you caught up in a system that tells you to do without will, all right, you're not going to come to the only way, to the only one that can save you, man. You're going to be stuck. Okay. And it starts here. All these countries want to emulate the Babylon the Great to a certain extent. Now, you have some countries who don't want to push everything that they push. Okay. You have a lot of countries that don't want to do the things to their food as Babylon the Great does to your food. But all in all, the whole world is going to be guilty of going against the Lord. All right. Okay. And holding up idols and things like this. But anyway, so everyone is going to be come face to face with this MOTB, this decision, this way of life. Okay. All these other countries are passing laws that uh, are parallel to or in cahoots with the U.S. All right, Babylon the Great, which Babylon the Great again are passing laws that are going to require their people to upload your your IDs, all right, by rather that be through your biometrics like face scanning, all right, fingerprinting, which face scanning has been going on over here. All right, the Babylonians over here, the Egyptians over here, all right, which are you American people? All of you over here, for the most part, I have been going crazy with these face filters, man. They already have your measurements. Again, gradualism. They knew what they were doing when they put the face filters out here, but you didn't consider that they were measuring your face for their benefit. All right, how do you think they've rolled out facial recognition? Okay, and these things are catching on. All right, even though they don't have it exactly right. All right, they've been making mistakes, but some of them faces are familiar because they have been measuring faces. Okay. Anyway, they're passing laws to require citizens to upload your IDs or face biometric scans or fingerprints. Right, and that's just to access everyday internet platforms, right? Social media sites or any other kind of websites. And all the while they claim that it's done to protect children from explicit content, which we've had something recently to show you that they don't give a fuck about no kids, man. Otherwise, a lot of heads will be rolling because of that Epstein shit. You don't care about the kids. They know that people do though. So they use that as an excuse and people blindly follow that shit. Okay. So they claim it protects children for one. They claim that it's going to stop cyber crimes. Okay. But the true purpose is to eliminate anonymity. They want everyone in a database, man. Okay. They want to know us all intimately. All right. And the ultimate intimate way to know somebody is they're going to put that C hip in you, man. All right. But now we're in a time where they're just conditioning you to accept that, all right, these face scans, your fingerprints, and your digital access, all right, has to be permanently linked to a uh, uh, a verifiable digital token. All right, they want you tied to an online identity. They want a twin of you online. And they've collected enough data to have that, all right, or most of that already. What they're doing is tying that ID, all right, to their ultimate plan, all right, that MOTB, by first conditioning your mind to normalize constant verification. Remember, digital ID, online age verification. They're just conditioning you, getting you ready, making you ready. And so at the same time, the institute by gradualism. So by forcing the people to verify your identities to access basic parts of the internet, which people flip out if you take the internet away, man. They flip the fuck out. They don't know what the hell to do. Don't you know that there was a world before the internet? There was life before the damn internet, man. Okay. Well, since they got everybody tied to the internet, right? People flip out when they lose that. Okay. So now, in order for you to use it, they want to tie your identity to it. All right, which is going to destroy the idea of privacy. You're always connected, man. It doesn't matter if you go to an incognito page. It doesn't matter if you have a VPN. Privacy is over as far as when you are on this internet. You can believe that now. All right. But instead, most people are believing that uh, human rights are actually privileges granted by the state, which can only be unlocked through a digital passkey. You think that now that they have your face scan, you think that now that they have you do your age verification, that once you enter through those portals, that everything is unseen or private to you, but it's not. Right? You think just because you have a password to your ID online that nobody else is uh, accessing it? That's not true. All right, they are. Okay, so let's look at Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 16 now. It says, "Thus," and this is in the Apocrypha, mind you. All right, it says, "Thus, by process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings." So in that verse, it mentioned by process of time. All right. And this is what the exact biblical definition of gradualism is: by process of time. So, by process of time, a wicked practice or system does not become standard overnight. Speaking of gradualism, they had to work this in. Okay. But people are eating it up as it goes. It's going according to their plan. It's been growing stronger over time until, guess what it's going to do? It's going to become a law, an inescapable law, funneling people into this life, if you want to call it living, all right, that they have planned for you. So digital IDs, biometric scans, you can consider these the ungodly custom, right, that is being grown strong today, so that the physical mark can be mandated in the near future. Okay. So let's talk about this. It says the bottleneck, linking identity to commerce. Again, you have to keep in mind verse 17, Revelation 13, and verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Remember that one way out. When they close all the exits and they leave that one exit open, that exit, all right, is uh, the mark of the beast. Okay, that's going to be the only way out of the difficulty that's coming for the world. All right, for us, our way out is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, faith. Okay, but for the world, all right, you're going to run towards that open exit. You're going to take that MOTB for the most part. Okay, but they're going to tie this thing, and their gradualism, they're going to tie your IDs to hold on, let me get back here. All right, they're going to tie your IDs to commerce. Let me look at what commerce is. All right, define commerce. Commerce is the large scale buying and selling of goods and services, specifically acting as the distribution link between producers and consumers. They're going to be the middleman in everything. That micro C-hip is going to be the middleman in everything when it comes to buying and selling. It's going to be a middleman that you cannot avoid either. It says it includes all the activities like transport and banking that help move products from where they are made to where they are sold. Okay. So hold on a second. So it says digital ID and age verification laws are the architectural foundation for the central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, which are programmable. They're going to be programmable, by the way. What does that mean? It means they're going to be able to tell you what you can't buy or sell. If money is digital, money is now digital and on a complete ledger and controlled by Esau, Edom, the wicked. They're going to tell you what they want you to buy. Otherwise, your money won't work where you think you're going to buy it. All right. If you go out of a certain distance, if they don't want you to leave a certain distance, you won't, because that's going to be a requirement for you to keep buying and selling. They already know they got you. Once you receive this thing, you think they're going to let up control or tighten up the control? Okay. There's going to be many factors showing you or telling you or demanding, actually making you buy and sell here and there only, buying and selling this and that only. And not just only, but only if you do certain things or don't do certain things. All right, only if you haven't had enough of this thing. All right. And what I mean by that is, if they start putting a carbon credit system into place, all right, certain foods emit this amount of carbon, certain food emits this amount of carbon. Insects emit this amount of carbon if you eat it. So if you, whatever they want you to buy, right, whatever methods they use to tell you that you've had enough of the things that you like, now let's do this. All right, you're gonna do that. Otherwise, starve. All right, they're gonna tighten up their control, man. If that made any sense. All right, Lord willing, it did. Uh, Ultimately, they're pushing towards a cashless society. They want you on this digital grid. Okay, easier to control that way. Easier to know who's spending, where they're spending it. All right, easier to see what they are spending it on. You cannot have a cashless micro C-hipped system without first having a digital identity registry, something that has everyone on it. Okay, or there's something called the Internet of Bodies. You can go look up or go look that up. IOB. All right, but right now we're in a system. We're in the times of this thing being built up, right, structurally. through gradualism, right? Through the conditioning of the people's minds. And once this digital ID is universally mandated, right, all throughout Babylon the Great, right, they're going to merge that with your bank accounts, then with your health records, and then with your social credit score that's going to be coming onto the scene. Okay. They want a one-stop shop for you as far as that digital identity is concerned. Now, if they want to see your health, they can look at this thing. If they want to see a bank, they can look at this thing. The credit score, they can look at this thing and keep you right where they put you. Okay, and this is coming. So let's look at Isaiah 29:15 for us that look to the Lord, for us that the Lord is our hope. Okay, what does the Lord say about these people? Isaiah 29:15, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? Again, speaking to the mind state of someone who would do this, right? Esau, Edom, the wicked. Right? They think that they are hiding their true motives. They tell the public that age verification is to protect the youth, but in the dark, their true counsel is to create and uh, a digital bottleneck to filter you all into where they want to go, their desired end, right? As I said there in the definition for gradualism. The meaning of gradualism is the policy of approaching a desired end by gradual steps. By lying to you or deceiving you, they're going to reach that desired end. All right, if they can legally stop you from accessing the website without digital ID today, they'll be able to legally stop you from entering a grocery store without their physical microchip tomorrow. And it's all being put into place, man. Small steps. All right. How else does the Lord describe these people? Psalm 10, verses 9 and 10. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor. When he draweth him into his net, he croucheth, he humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. All right, so Esau Edom is this lion that's crouching. All right, Esau Edom is the one that's acting humble and claiming that these tracking laws are for your safety, are for your child's safety. This is just that lion in that verse, all right, drawing the poor into his net, all right, setting that trap. And as far as the strong ones, all right, this represents his technology, his legislative bills, his algorithms, all right, that are ultimately going to trap you people of Babylon the Great that are not walking in the ways of the Lord, not searching for the Lord, not seeking for him. You're going to be trapped in economic captivity, because the only way you're going to be able to keep participating in the economy is receiving this MOTB. And that's the trap that, all right, all people are headed for. Okay, so we are thankful that we have Yahweh and Yahweh Shai to follow. We're thankful that he is lighting our steps so that we can see what this devil is doing in the dark. Okay. But that was just one example of gradualism. All right, Lord willing, we'll continue in this for a little while and bring up something else in the next video, Lord willing. But with that, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. A double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short. Also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.